You're welcome to class, Melody. Good evening, Melody. You're welcome to class. Good evening,
Evening, ma'am.
Abawumi. Oh, good evening, Melody. Good evening to you. Good evening, Abawumi. You're welcome to class. So our time is fast spent. So, Melody and Abawumi, you can unmute your mic, and if you are venture in a place where you cannot speak freely, you can make use of the chat box to drop your response. So, who can remind us what we talked about in our last class? That was last week, Friday. Anyone who can take us through what we did in our last class, our last topic? Melody and Abawumi, what was our last topic in biology? Melody and Abawumi, can you hear me?
Cell division.
Yes, ma.
Okay, what did you say the topic was? I didn't hear you.
Cell division.
Okay, yes, we talked about cell division. We talked about mitosis, okay? Division, mitosis. Who can tell us about what you can remember from mitosis? What you can remember from meiosis? What is mitosis all about? Yes, about me and Melody. What is mitosis all about? Melody and about me, can you hear me? Melody and about me, are you there? Can you hear me, Melody and about me?
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So I was asking
I
who wants to
can
tell
hear
us
you.
about mitosis and meiosis. Does anyone want to tell us about mitosis and meiosis? What we did in our last class? Yeah, welcome back to class, Mohammed. All right.
Mitosis deal with two daughter cell.
You said, what did you say? About me, what did you say? I didn't get you clearly. About me, are you there? About me, are you there? Hello, about me. About me, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So in our last class, we talked about cell division. We talked about mitosis, the types of cell division, and we said there are two types of cell division. We have mitosis and we have meiosis. And we started with mitosis. We talked about the phases that are involved in mitosis, the stages that are involved in mitosis. And we said in mitosis, we have the P mats, the IP mats, where I stands for interphase, P stands for prophase, M stands for metaphase, A stands for anaphase, and T stands for telophase. And we said in mitosis bring about formation of two daughter cells that are genetically identical to their parent plant. Unlike in meiosis is divided into two. We have meiosis 1 and we have meiosis 2. In meiosis 1, we have 5 stages involved, while in meiosis 2, we have 4 stages involved. In meiosis 1, where we have 5 stages involved, we have the first phase being the interphase, also high PMAT. The first phase being the interphase, the second phase being the prophase, the third phase being the metaphase, the fourth being anaphase, and the fifth being telophase. So talking about all of these things, we talked about For four phases. We have phase one, we have phase two, we have phase two, we have phase two. In mitosis, there's formation of mitosis results in the formation of two daughter cells, while meiosis involves in the formation of four daughter cells that are genetically distinct from the parent organism. Now, talking about what we have for today, if you are following, please drop an emoji. Okay, thank you, Obawumi. Melody, are you there? Okay, thank you, Melody. I guess Mubarak is having network difficulties. He keeps logging on and off. All right, so today we'll be talking about irritability. And when we're talking about irritability, we are going to be talking about irritability as a property and function of a cell. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Give me a moment while I share my screen. Okay. If you can see my screen, drop an emoji. About me, can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, drop an emoji about me. Okay, thank you, about me. Okay, I think Melody has logged off too. Okay. Now, when we are talking about irritability, what is irritability? Irritability, first and foremost, can also be called sensitivity. And what does irritability, also known as sensitivity, what does it mean? It is the ability of an organism to respond to stimulus. That is the short definition I give it. However, if I want to give it a long definition, I would say irritability, also known as sensitivity, is the ability of all living organisms to detect changes in their internal and external environment and execute appropriate responses. That is why I said, if for short, I want to define irritability, I would just simply refer to it as the ability of an organism to respond to stimulus. I'm talking about stimulus. What does stimulus mean? Stimulus is a change in the cell or organism's environment, which can make that organism to change its activity. Organisms are able to respond to light, temperature, water, gravity, and chemicals. This stimulus, once you are able to sense this stimulus, what's going to happen? A response is expected. The response can be a positive response and it can be a negative response. Now, what is a response itself? What is the definition of response? It is the physiological or behavioral reaction of an organism or part of his body to the detected stimulus, which means the organism can move his whole body in response or move just a part of his body in response. For example, if I pinch you on your right thigh, what do? You jerk off your right thigh towards yourself like, ouch, why did you pinch me? Right? But if it's a case of a fire, what's going to happen? You're going to move your whole body out of the way of the fire. So talking about stimulus, we have two types of stimulus. We have external stimulus and we have internal stimulus. We have external stimulus and we have internal stimulus. And external stimulus that organisms generally respond to, they include temperature, they include light, they include gravity, they include touch, and chemicals in the environment, including food and water. Yes, including food and water. Now, living organisms have a means of detecting external stimulus. And when I'm talking about living organisms, I'm talking about human beings, plants, and animals. Now, they have means of detecting external stimulus. Now, they have structures called receptors, special cells called receptors. And these receptors may be found all over the body or in special places in the body of the organism. Now, when the receptor detects an external stimulus, when the receptor detects a stimulus, what does it do? It sends a message to appropriate parts or organs, which will bring about a response to the stimulus. So the response can be a positive response or a negative response. Now, the organ which makes response to this stimulus is called the effector, because it is the effector that usually bring about movement of parts of the body or the whole organism. Like I mentioned earlier, if I pinch you on your right thigh, You jerk off your right thigh, you move it closer to yourself. Or like if it's a fire, in case of a fire outbreak, you move your whole body out of the way of the fire. Now, when we are talking about types of responses, we have types of responses, and there are three main types of responses. We have the nastic response, we have the tactic, also called taxis response, and we have the tropic response. When we are talking about let's talk about the first type of response, the taxis response. The taxis response is also called the tactic response. Give me a moment. Okay. So I said the tactic response is also called the taxis response is also called the tactic response. And when we're talking about the tactic response, what are we talking about? Oh, sorry. When we're talking about the tactic response, also called the tactics response, what are we talking about? This type of response, they are directional response. Directional. The key word there is directional response that is shown by an organism towards or away from a stimulus. When it is towards it, it's positive. If it moves away, it is negative. That is, we have positive taxis response and negative taxis response. Now, I said the taxis response are directional response that are shown by an organism towards or away from a stimulus. And this stimulus come from a particular direction. And the response is related to that stimulus. And like I mentioned, if the response is, if the organism moves towards the stimulus, it is called a positive response. That is positive tactic response or positive taxis response. But if it moves away, it is called negative taxis response. Now, there are three types of tactic response. We have phototaxis, chemotaxis, and we have thermotaxis. We have chemotaxis, we have phototaxis, and we have thermotaxis. Now, when we talk about phototaxis, photo from the word photo, phototaxis from the word photo, what does it mean? Photo means light. So when you say phototaxis, it means it is a movement that is a response to light. It could either be a positive response to light or a negative response to light. So the phototaxis is simply defined as movement towards or away from light. Now, example of organisms that move towards light, we have Iglida and Volvox. They swim towards low level, towards low light intensity, and while others move away from high light intensity. Then the second type of taxis movement that we have chemotaxis. We have chemotaxis. Chemotaxis is a movement in response to chemical gradients. For example, the sperm cells swim towards chemicals that are produced by the ovum. So we can call that a positive taxis movement, a positive chemotaxis movement. Then we have the thermotaxis, which is movement or away from changing temperature. For example, motor bacteria, they swim from cold region to hot region. And that's an example of a positive taxis movement. Then the second type of response that we have the nastism. The nastism movement, also called the nastic movement. The nastism movement, also called the nastic movement. What does it mean? You know, when I talked about taxis movement, I said they are directional response, and I mentioned that the key word there is directional. Now, let's take a look at nastic response. These are responses that are shown by plant parts to non-directional stimulus. The key word there is non-directional. So, they are non-directional movement of plant parts in response to external stimulus. Sorry, excuse me. Stimulus such as change in temperature, humidity, and even light intensity. Now, response to the stimulus here is usually non-directional. Example, We have opening of petals of sunflower in the light, and they are closing in the dark. Another example, the closing of the flower. There's a flower called morning glory. When light intensity is low, this morning glory flower, it closes up. However, when it's high, it opens up. Also, we have something called we have a aptonasty, which is the folding of the mimosa pudica plant when it is being touched. There's a name they call it in Yoruba. I can't remember the name. Now, when you touch this plant, if you touch it, wherever you touch the body, it closes up. The leaflet closes up. That is a form of protection for that plant. And then later, it opens up. So the other type is the photodynasty, which I already explained, which I already mentioned, like for example, closing of the morning glory plant depending on the intensity of light that is present. Then we have the third type of response, which is trophism or trophic response. And what does this mean? They are also directional response, just like taxic response. They are directional response that occurs when a plant part moves in response to a unidirectional external stimulus. Now, also here, response can either be positive or negative. Now, trophic response is majorly common in plants. It is majorly common in plants. So the response, when the plant moves towards the stimulus, it is positive. However, when it moves away, it is negative. What are the type of trophic response? We have phototrophism, we have geotrophism, we have hydrotrophism. Talking about phototrophism, what does this mean? From the word photo, when I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about phototaxis, phototrophism means response to light. For example, stems, the shoot of plants, they grow towards light. They go towards light. They move towards light. That is positive phototrophism. While the root of plants, they grow away from light. That is negative phototrophism. Then we have the next one, geotrophism. That's gravity. Their movements depending on the kind of movement they exhibit in response to gravity. So geotrophism is just response to gravity, and it can also be a positive geotrophic movement or a negative geotrophic movement. So growth movement, this is geotrophism is justified as the growth movement in response to gravitational pull, which I mentioned that it can be positive or negative. For example, plant roots grow downwards. That is positive geotrophism. They are growing towards the point of gravity for stability. Excuse me. The more stable the root of a plant is, the harder it is for it to get uprooted by rain, by sun, or even by other animals, or even human beings. While the shoot of the plant, they grow upward, away from gravity. Now, that is a negative geotrophism. Then we have hydrotrophism. Are you following? If you are following, drop an emoji. If you are following, please drop an emoji. Melody Obawumi, please drop an emoji if you are still with me. Thank you, Obawumi. Melody, are you there? Okay, Obawumi, thank you once again. Melody, are you there? Can you hear us? Melody, are you with us? Okay, thank you for that, Melody. Thank you. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, we have hydrotrophism, the third type of trophic movement. We have hydrotrophism. For hydro from the word hydrotrophism from the word hydro, and hydro means what? Hydro means water. So hydrotrophism simply means what? Response to water, like growth curvature of roots towards a place with high moisture level, which will help the roots to absorb water, which is needed to perform the process of photosynthesis. So an example now, we have roots will bend towards where there is moisture, where there is high level of moisture, and that is an example of a positive hydrotrophic response, positive hydrotrophism. Then we have the shoot moving away from high moisture levels, which is negative hydrotrophism. So these are the comparisons of the biological response that we have. We have the taxic response, also called tactic response. We have the nastism, also called nastic. We have the trophism, also called trophic. So we have the type of organism where it occurs. For tactic, it occurs in invertebrate and mobile single cells. Nastic response, it occurs in complex vascular plant and also trophic response. For tactic response, we have movement of whole body. For narcissism, just specific plant parts. For trophism, active growth region, the tips, the roots moving towards water and the shoots moving away from water. Then their direction. For tactic response is directional. Trophism is also directional. While for nastic response, it is non-directional. Nature of response, locomotion. Low nature of response here, it is better. This one is working with trigger pressure. Then we have differential cell growth here. For speed of response, in taxis, it is very rapid. In nastic response, it is rapid, while in trophism, it is quite slow. Because, for example, when the root of plant is moving towards water, it doesn't happen in 1 hour. It's a gradual process that occurs in the plant. All right. Now, what's the excess of sensitivity, irritability? The excess is the excess of sensitivity is to help plants, especially to move away from conditions that are not favorable to them. They help them to move away from conditions that are not favorable to them. And when the condition is not favorable to a plant, for example, looking at the plants that their root grows towards where there is water. If that plant root doesn't grow towards where there is water, what is going to happen to that plant? The plant will wilt and die. Because once photosynthesis is not going on, it's not occurring because there's lack of moisture content, what's going to happen? There won't be enough raw materials for photosynthesis to take place and proper functioning of the cell and the proper functioning of the cell will not occur. So this is 7:38. Let me mark the attendance now. I guess this is everyone that will be in the class. Once again, Melody and Obawumi, thank you so much for always showing up for classes. Your actions are quite commendable. So I have just Obawumi and Melody. So just give me a moment while I mark the attendance. So I don't know about Muhammad. He started the class. Maybe he's having network difficulty. I don't know, but he has not joined since then. Okay. Okay, I got About Me and Melody on the list. Okay, About Me and Melody, I got your name on the list already. So let me just mark the others as absent. Give me a moment. Let me mark the others as absent. Okay. Give me a moment. I'm still with you. I'm still with you. Give me a moment. I'm almost done. Okay. Oh, okay. Give us a moment. Okay. All right. I got the attendance marked. Okay, great. So I got the attendance marked. Okay. Oh, that reminds me before I forget. I gave you an assignment from last week. About me, you were able to attempt it. You can unmute your mics, please. Please unmute your mics. Okay, I gave you an assignment last week, and About me did it, and I think Christine. But I don't think I have Christine. Christine is not in class today. So About me, thank you very much for attempting the assignment that I gave to you. You did quite well. Did you get my comments? About me, did you get my comments?
I'm not check, ma.
Oh, okay. You can take a look at the dashboard. If there's a space for your coach's comments there, you should be able to find my comment. So I've set up another question for this week. What we today we've done irritability. Tomorrow we'll be talking about reproduction, types of reproduction. So I've set up a question. I've set up an assignment for this week that covers the topic, the two topics the topic we need today, excuse me, the topic we did today and the one we'll be doing tomorrow. So as from tomorrow, after our class tomorrow, you can start attempting to do the assignment that is on your dashboard for your biology. And the assignment is closing next week, Wednesday, Children's Day. So even if you want to do Children's Day, please do your assignment and turn it in time. There's no allowance for late submission. I will not give you allowance for late submission. Because if in my busy schedule, I make out time to do the needful, I believe you should also do the needful. And it's just 10 questions. It's not more than 10. If I've given you like 20 questions, it might look tasky. That was why I decided to just make it 10 questions. I don't go beyond 10 questions so that before you know it, in few minutes, you will be done, less than 10 minutes. So this assignment won't even take much of your time. Okay? So just endeavor to do it. And do you have any questions from the last class about me?
What I want to ask.
Hey, about me, your voice is breaking. Can you drop a message in the chat box? About
You,
me, your
sir.
voice is breaking. Please
When
drop
are
a
you,
message in the chat
when are you
box.
teaching us biology practical?
I can't hear you clearly. About me, your voice is breaking. Can you drop a message in the chat box, please? Melody, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. About me, please use the chat box. Your voice is breaking. I can't hear you quite well. The last thing I heard was practical, and I don't understand what that is. Melody, you missed the last class. So have you gone through the videos on your dashboard?
No, ma'am.
Okay, please find time to do so, okay? Find time to do
Yes,
so.
ma'am.
All right. All right, me, I'm still waiting for your message in the chat box. I didn't quite hear you clearly. When will you be able to teach us when I'll be able to teach you biology practical? Okay, now the thing about biology practical is it's kind of tougher to teach it online, but I will think about something. Okay. Thank you for that question about me. Thank you for that question. So if you know anyone who is meant to be in this class, however they are not here, please reach out to them and tell them to take a look at their dashboard. At most by weekends, our classes for today and tomorrow will be on your dashboard for you to be able to access it. So I hope everyone is able to do that. So either you missed the class or not, I hope everyone still has access to their dashboard to be able to view what was done in their absence. So does anybody have questions based on what we've done today? Melody and Obawumi, do you have questions based on what we've done today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Melody, how about you? Do you have questions? Melody, are you there?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, all right then. About me, how about you? Do you have questions? About me, are you there? Okay, I guess about me is not there right now. All right, what did I say a stimulus is? What is a stimulus? Melody and about me, what is a stimulus? About me, are you trying to say something? It looks like your mic is unmuted. About me, are you trying to say something?
No, ma.
Okay, all right. You can unmute your mic. It's time for the interactive session, question and answers. Since you don't have questions, I have questions for you. Obviously, I will always have questions for you. So what is a stimulus? About me and Melody, what is the stimulus? If you cannot speak freely where you are, you can just drop a message in the chat box. You can make use of the chats. Please make use of the chat. What is a stimulus? About me and Melody, what is the stimulus?
Stimulus in response to environment.
About me, I actually didn't quite hear you. Your voice is
Mental
breaking.
changes.
About me, your voice is breaking. Can you drop your answer in the chat box? I think that way it will be easier. Your voice is breaking. All right. So about me is trying to answer the question on stimulus. So Melody, another name for irritability is what?
Sensitivity.
Thank you, Melody. Another name for irritability is sensitivity. So what is the definition of irritability? What is the definition of irritability? What's the definition of irritability? About me, I'm still waiting for your answer on stimulus. About me, Melody, can you hear me?
It is the ability of an organism to notice changes in the environment.
Okay, that is good. So what is irritability? What's the meaning of irritability? About me, Melody, what is irritability? Excuse me. About me, Melody, can you hear me? Are you there? Okay, I guess Melody is having network difficulties because she's logged out. About me, are you there? About me, are you there? Melody, welcome back. I guess you're having network difficulties over there also. Melody and about me, can you both hear me? Okay, Melody can hear me. About me, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not sure about me is with us. So, Melody, how many types of response do we have? How many types of response do we have, Melody? Melody, how many types of response do we have?
Three.
Okay, we have three types of response. Okay, so can you mention them? Can you mention them? You can mention one or two out of it, and you can mention the three, whichever one you can remember. Can you hear me? Hello, are you there? Okay. I guess Abamu is having network difficulties again. Okay, no one else is in the meeting. Okay, so Melody said that we have three types of response, and we have the nastic response, we have the taxish response, and we have the trophic response. All right, that's where we're going to stop for today. That is all that we have for today. Melody, you're welcome back. I guess you and about me are having network difficulties today. Melody and about me, do you have any question? Melody and about me, any question? Any question? All right. Thank you so much for making it to class today, and thank you for keeping up, even with the network difficulties that you were having. Thank you so much for keeping up. So I'm going to see you in our next class. Our next class is tomorrow, Friday, by 7 p.m. I'm going to be expecting you. Okay. And if peradventure while you're going through your book, if you have any questions, you can note them down. In our next class tomorrow, we're going to talk about it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much about me and Melody. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye.